At the top of the table, Liverpool still lead the way, 2 points above Arsenal and 4 clear of City. But City do have that all-important game in hand tomorrow night against Brentford. Villa currently sitting fourth, closely followed by Spurs and Manchester United. Brighton's excellent display in Sheffield sees them climb to 7th. And at the bottom of the table, still only goal difference separating Burnley and Sheffield United. Everton can pull themselves out of the drop zone if they can get anything from their game against Crystal Palace this evening. Something Luton fans will be desperately hoping doesn't happen, as they currently occupy that perilous 17th place. On Kelly and Righty, the official takeover. Julia Stewart in the house with Darren Bent. And then we've got one righty in the house. So that's in the contract, I believe. The righty's got to be represented. Sean Wright-Phillips is here. And then Julian Laurent is joining us as well. Oh, great start. I've left you all speechless. Amazing. Also speechless for all of us is to have all 3 title contenders playing on a Saturday. That doesn't happen often.
No, it doesn't. And it's all, I mean, not if you're a Manchester City fan, but for us.
Is joining us as well. Oh, great start. I've left you all speechless. Amazing. Also speechless for all of us is to have all 3 title contenders playing on a Saturday. That doesn't happen often.
No, it doesn't. And it's all, I mean, not if you're a Manchester City fan, but for Arsenal and Liverpool, you need to keep winning your games. Arsenal did that convincingly against me. Liverpool went to Brentford and won as well, somewhere they hadn't won before in Premier League. So, yeah, it's really, really hitting up. I mean, Manchester City, you don't panic, do you? I mean, right, we're no better than anyone. These guys have been there so many times before. They never panic. They know exactly what to do at the right time. And it's important that the likes of Liverpool and Arsenal keep winning.
Yeah, better to play first or last in the day? What do you reckon?
For me, my preference would have been first, get the points on the board, game done, and kind of sit back and chill and watch everybody else kind of go through it. But at the end of the day, you still got to have that same performance to get that result. So their mind frame would have been, for the ones that didn't play first, would be, it doesn't matter what they do anyway, we still have to do our job.
Yeah, I think it's fantastic for us watching to have Liverpool, then Arsenal, then City, all at different times kicking off and all on the same day.
Yeah, incredible. And I think we've said it before, though, but it's a very competitive season in the Premier League, maybe the most competitive we've had in a very long time. Usually it's a title race with 2. Sometimes there's no title race because one is much better than the other. We have 3 this time with teams around them that can cause them problem. We saw Chelsea taking 2 draws against City, home and away. And I think Liverpool will drop points, Arsenal will drop more points, City will drop more points between now and the end of the season to make it very, very competitive.
Scintillating for us to watch. Liverpool going to Brentford on Saturday in the early kickoff, which...
Playing really well. Darwin Núñez is playing well. Salah speaks for himself. And I think when you're in a title race like they are, they've been so close so often. I mean, they got to, I think, 97 points, don't win the title. Get to 92 points, don't win the title. Then they've done it before with Manchester City, so they know exactly. And Jurgen Klopp's a fantastic manager. He knows exactly what to do at the right time. I expect their form to continue. They will drop points, as Julian said, but I think when you've got the firepower and the players that they've got that can create opportunities and score goals, they're always going to be in the game.
I watched that game as well, funny enough, and for me, the first 20 minutes, I thought Brentford were actually unbelievable. The way they were cutting through Liverpool, I was like, what am I kind of watching here? It kind of caught me off guard, but when you give the chances that you do to Liverpool in the form that their front 3 are in, you kind of know the end results. And like Benty said, when you bring on Salah and you've managed to, for the first time in a while, push McAllister that little bit further forward where he likes to play in those little pockets, and he gets that fantastic first touch, you're causing yourself all sorts of problems. But Brentford, in general, that's probably the worst I've seen them defend. They seemed like they was lost, and some of that defending was quite comical to watch.
Yeah, I guess the bad news for Liverpool is the injuries, though, because Jota looks bad. Really, that incident with Norgard, I think Darwin and Jones might just be more precaution than anything else. But at this time of the season, you look at injuries. Saliba last season for Arsenal really hurt them. I guess KDB and Haaland in the last 4 months or so hurt City in a way, of course. So if Liverpool were to go down, Alisson is injured, Trent is injured, Szoboszlai is injured as well, on top of all of the players we've already mentioned, that could have an impact as well on what's happening between now and the end of the season.
Do you know what, that's why I think you look at Manchester City and their squad. Injuries, of course, it will play its part, but they're so strong, like the depth in their squad. And when you look at Liverpool's injuries as well, I mean, as you said there, Jules, it's quite scary because Szoboszlai started the season was one of the signings of the season. He was fantastic. Curtis Jones now finding his form. He's like one of their main players. But to have that injury list and still be where you are, I think if it continues, I think it'll be difficult, but I still think Jurgen Klopp and this squad, because of the firepower they've got, they can give anyone a game on any given day.
It's also tricky because they've got so many games coming up in such a short space of time. The next little while, up until the 30th of March, I think they play 9 games or something. They've got FA Cup, there's the Cup final, Carabao Cup final coming up this weekend. There's a midweek game, you know, there's Europa League as well. Yeah. It's a lot with that squad.
It is a lot, and yeah, the depth in your squad is important. Not getting players injured is important, or recovering them as quickly as possible. But I think the energy that club transmits, especially for his last season, really, I think this was a game changer in itself, him announcing that he's leaving. The documentary that they're filming, you can just imagine the atmosphere within the club, within the dressing room, and that desire to do it for him, really. You can win all four trophies that you win still. So it could be very special, or it could just not go according to plans because of injuries, because City and Arsenal might be too good for them.
Do you know what it might be as well, right? I don't know what you think, is that something might have to give for Liverpool because they're involved in absolutely everything.
Oh, yeah.
If the squad just keeps getting, the injuries keep getting decimated, at some point they're not going to give up on the league, of course. FA, they're already in one cup final. They've got the Europa League. Something's going to have to give in terms of the rotation of the squad and the players that he picks.
They kind of, in so many ways, I won't say got lucky, but the replacement with, say, Conor Bradley for Trent, that doesn't happen often where you can put a young kid in that quickly and his performances have been from, like, hair to hair, because he played in Europe and he didn't play that well in the 2 European games and he got a bit of stick, but he got another chance, came in, and for me, he's a perfect placement for a Trent. And if Trent does come back, it allows Klopp time to filter him back in rather than just say, here you go. So in certain aspects, he's got enough to rotate, I think, personally. If you use a team well, you're going to have to taper the way you train, of course, Benny, you'll know that. But they've done it before with a less of a squad, with just the 11 and maybe 2 or 3. So with now, I think, as long as those injuries ain't 6-7 week injuries or longer, I think they'll be fine in terms of squad management.
You know what we do need a documentary on? It's what happened in Dubai. Because since Arsenal came back from Dubai, something's changed, man. They're just scoring goals, 21 in the last 5 games. The first time they've won 5 at the start of the year, ever.
Yeah, and I think the last time I was on the show, we talked about that. We talked about just the fact it was as they were in Dubai, and we said, like, this is what they needed. Some sun, time with the family, time away from England, all the pressure, Darren Bent's radio show, anything, anything you take. You know, you go and it's just like you just forget about everything, pretty much. The defeat of Fulham, all of that, the defeat against West Ham at home, and you go again. And I think that since then, I don't know how much really is connected. But certainly they looked refreshed, and all the chat that we had about do they need a number 9, like a proper finisher, goal scorer. They scored 21 goals in 5 games, which they'd never done before in their history. A stretch of 5 Premier League games, they never scored so many. So they've been incredible.
Do you know, I think it was always going to happen, because you look at the results where they lost to West Ham and Fulham, they still had more than enough opportunities to score. I think the West Ham game,
especially, Fulham, not so much.
77 touches in West Ham's box. That was never going to stay the same. Like, Saka was never going to go the whole season without scoring. Martinelli was going to come good. Odegaard's going to come good. So I think that result against West Ham, the 6-0, was always coming. And then obviously to go on and beat Burnley. I mean, Burnley at the minute are just appalling. We'll probably speak about that later, but that was never going to stay the same for Arsenal. At some point, they were always going to keep scoring goals, and their form was going to get better.
Sean's giving you the side eye. I don't know that he agrees.
No, I wouldn't say I don't agree. I think that the major thing for Arsenal is the goal scorers are coming from everywhere. I think when you can bring Trossard into the team and he slots into the team like he's been playing all the time, it surprises me why he hasn't in many ways started before Kai, because Trossard was doing what he's doing now last year, so it kind of makes you think, did I have to go and buy a Kai Havertz when I have a Trossard there, which can do that and some? So I just think with the way Arsenal are playing in general, they've always played the same. They're always going to create chances because of the players they have. It's just a matter of putting them in the net. But the question is, if you play with Jesus, does it still work the same? Because Jesus rotates people. It might benefit Martinelli because he always rotates out. Martinelli comes inside. It might benefit that side. But Saka needs White to go past him to create those spaces so he can go either right or left, because otherwise he gets doubled up on. So I think right now they're finding the balance that they had through their strongest part of the season last year, and everything's ticking and clicking where it's meant to be. But like you said with Liverpool, they've got the Champions League coming up. So now they're going to have to start rotating the team, and do they have as much depth to be able to manage that situation as well? So I'm still there with Arsenal.
Do you know what might help them, though, is that on the flip side, rather than last season when Saliba went out and it completely derailed the whole team, they've got players coming back. So Partey, obviously, looks like he's close. Timber, I think, is going to be back in training soon. Zinchenko's coming back. So they've got players I think are coming back. Whereas last season they lost all these players. To get these players coming back at this time of the season might help them.
Your take on Trossard, because I think he is so influential, as you mentioned. And he scored a cracker as well in that game on Saturday.
Yeah, I like him. I'm with Wright. I really like him. I think whenever he's asked to do a job for Arsenal, he does it. Whether he can play that 8 role as well, I'm not sure, but certainly coming from wide, even that false number 9, every time he gets an opportunity, he comes on, he scores, he creates, he can play with both feet as well. And he's been really impressive. It's just whether he can nail down a spot in that side. And I think Havertz he's doing OK. You probably expected more, but he is now starting to find his feet and playing that Arteta way.
Arsenal have to play City. City have to play Liverpool as well. What do you rate Arsenal's chances as?
I think they have chances to go and win this, of course. I think they would have learned a lot from last season, being the hunted. Now they're the hunters. If City win tomorrow, they go above Arsenal. So Arsenal will be chasing City and Liverpool. Yeah. Very different, I think, mindset to being chased behind you by City especially. So I think they would have learned a lot from that. It will be down to Champions League, see how far they go or not. Let's see if they beat Porto first and then see who they find in the quarterfinal, because I'm not sure if they can play in both competitions at the best. But of course, they have a chance. You can't reach that. You can't beat City and Liverpool at home and don't believe in your chances. It's not possible. Because City and Liverpool will also face each other on March the 10th, even before the City-Arsenal game at Easter. So, that game should be massive as well.
OK, so with Liverpool and Arsenal winning earlier in the day, it was over to City in the late kickoff. They were at home to Chelsea. We're joined now by one of the players who was involved in that match, Manuel Akanji. Thank you so much for joining us here on Kelly and Righty. Great to be chatting to you today. You were in that game. Obviously, you've had a little bit of time to reflect now. What's your assessment of it?
I think we didn't play well enough in the first half. We reacted after we conceded the first goal. Then we pushed, especially in the second half. I think we played really well. We were going for the equalizer. We scored it a little bit late, I think, but we still had enough chances to win the game. We couldn't finish it off to get the 3 points. And I think if we would have done better over 90 minutes like we played in the second half, then it would have been better. But we gotta show a reaction now on Tuesday for the next game against Brentford.
You said that you had lots of chances, and you did, and you created loads, and you couldn't take them. What do you put that down to?
I mean, it happens sometimes. You see, like for a player like Erling, normally he doesn't need a lot of chances, but he's also human, and we tried. Maybe we should have tried to create even more chances in the first half. I mean, we tried, but sometimes in football it doesn't always go as planned. And then we did a couple of changes in half-time, and it was really well in the second half. And I think there were also, some decisions that maybe could have gone our way, but it didn't go on this day. So we gotta do better on this one, and also be better on the counter-attacks that we conceded in the first half. We gotta do better on this one as well.
Manuel, it's Sean Wright-Phillips here. I've seen you play and move into that Stonesy role. Are you enjoying it? And what are the differences? What areas do you have to focus on a lot more?
Yeah, I'm enjoying it. I'm enjoying it to play there. It's also like sometimes I prefer to play in defense, sometimes in midfield, sometimes as a fullback. It depends on how the game goes. But I think what I have to focus most on is when I play in midfield is that I have to check my surroundings, what's happening behind me. I remember also one situation in the first half where Kyle played me the ball and I tried to play it directly to Phil. And I would have time to turn because I'm not used to that than having players in my back, because normally the whole game is in front of me. And I'm still trying to adapt on this. But I like to play there. I can also use my physics sometimes when I have the ball to put my body in between and try to maybe go a little bit in front. But I'm trying to do better and improve game by game and training by training.
Manu, it's Brentford tomorrow at the Etihad. Recently the games against them have been quite interesting because they took the lead 3 weeks ago when you beat them in Brentford. Last season they actually beat you twice, home and away. How do you see the game tomorrow?
Yeah, I think the game that we had against them 3 weeks ago was really good. Even though we conceded a goal first, I think we created a lot of chances, and that's not always easy against an opponent that's playing with 5 in the back and defense really well. I think we did really good there, and I think we have just make sure that we don't concede the first goal again and create enough chances that we can score the goal in front and put some pressure on them if we go in front, and try to do that again.
Manu, someone who's playing really well for them is Ivan Toney. Obviously spent a lot of time out, scored 2 goals at the Etihad last season, has hit the ground running again this season. How do you plan to stop him, and has it surprised you how well he's doing considering how long he's been out?
Yeah, you could also see on the first goal that we conceded, I think we didn't do that well in covering after the long ball, and that's something he's really good in protecting the ball, in putting his body in between the defender and the ball, and we got to do it really well there. Maybe not always leave a defender in a 1v1 and help with the teammates around, and that's one of his strengths, or maybe even put some pressure on the ball before it's been played. So, I think that's something we need to focus on, and, don't let him in a 1v1 in a crucial moment.
We're basically in the final stretch now of the season. I know still a lot of football to come. For us watching, we're all talking about the title race. When is it going to be decided? How many games left? Will X team win the title? At Manchester City and in the change room, are any of you talking title? Or do you just focus on game by game? And how difficult is it to drown out the outside noise?
I mean, I don't think it's going to be it's the deciding moment now. Obviously, we would have loved to win the game on the weekend, but still, I think if we win this game that we are behind, then we should be 1 point behind Liverpool, and we still play against them. We still play against Arsenal, still play against Aston Villa. So it's a lot of crucial games that we then need to win. We need to show up for these games, and I think is it still going? It says no input.
Yeah.
Sorry. I think we need to be ready for these games, and there's going to be in March and April. But even then, after this game, it's not been decided yet. So I think the most deciding is when it goes towards the end, and now all the games matter a lot.
I think we're also just more fascinated to try and get into the mindset. Would you be talking about the title in the dressing room, or is it just focus on Brentford and then we'll focus on the next game? What's the mentality like at the moment?
Yeah, definitely. We go game by game. I mean, we can't influence what happens in their game. We just need to focus on us, and the next game is Brentford, so that's where our focus is on. And try to get the 3 points in this game.
Does anyone have any questions left? Are we ready to let him go?
Jules, I thought you wanted to ask your question.
So, Manuel, they told me that you are a mathematical genius, and now I'm fascinated. This wasn't discussed, but we've been chatting about it. Would you be happy to just give us some example of your mathematical genius if we just asked you like a multiplication question? Would you be okay?
Yeah, it's all right. I'm pretty good in multiplications, 2-digit numbers. So if you go to 3 digits, it's sometimes a little bit hard to remember what I calculated before, but two digits should be okay.
Okay, so 46. Are you ready? Are you guys ready? 46.
She's so excited, Manuel. She's so excited, you can't believe.
46 times 35.
1,610.
Wow.
Checking.
Oh, man.
Thank you so much for joining us on Kelly and Righty. It's been great to chat to you today. Good luck tomorrow and for the rest of the season.
Thank you very much. See you soon.
58 times 64. Go.
No chance. That was to be honest, didn't I?
Thank goodness for our producer, also either. We were all clapping. We didn't know the answer. A great interview there. Great to hear him talking about the mentality in this title race. I had a question for you. Would you rather be where City are right now, chasing, or would you rather be Liverpool? What is harder?
I don't know. I think for them, with the way City play, I feel like it necessarily doesn't really matter. But for me, I'd rather not have the game in hand and have all the points on the board.
Yeah,
I'd rather it just be there. So then I know, like, I've done my part of the job already. it's down to the other team to kind of keep up the pace that they have been. But it's a hard one to ask, that, you know.
Yeah, I think I'd rather the points on the ball, but I think it's difficult, and that's where I think the title could be won and lost, because City is so calm at this part of the season, whereas Arsenal, we saw last season, panicked a little bit. Liverpool, we know they've been there and done it before, but Manchester City just calm in this particular part of the season, and I don't think they mind chasing. In some respects, I think they quite enjoy it, chasing, because then it gives them a little bit, they refocus, and then they go again, but I mean, I still think they decide to beat.
Also puts the pressure on them. Sorry, Jules.
No.
It also puts the pressure on the other teams, because they know what City have done over the previous years. So they're like, we know we can't even drop a point here because City will keep going. Well, so they have done in the past.
And because they face each other, it doesn't. They both have the game in their own hands. Because if City win all their games,